In part 5 of this series, we'll look at Alfons Eyckmans' Spies number 3 puzzle. This is probably the toughest one to date, and it's got a little different layout, as you can see in the front, for the forks. You can see Alfons Eyckmans' beautiful puzzles in wood here. If you want to purchase any of his creations or to look at his puzzles, you can contact him on Facebook. Spies is a 6-part puzzle series, and you can see the earlier puzzles in earlier videos. This is the 5th puzzle video in this series, and it's quite challenging. If you do some of the earlier puzzles, they may help you prepare for this one. The parts, there's 8 parts, 2 plates, 3 what I call mini forks, and 3 top pieces. It's quite difficult. I've provided a 2-piece plate to replace one of those 2 orange plates if you want to make a take-apart or disassembly puzzle. And all 3D print files can be found at the link in the description. This is the only puzzle in this series with a different scheme for the forks, and you can see from the picture here and from the picture in the original start of the video where the forks appear on the sides of those pieces on the top. For those who want the maximum challenge, I provided plates which are plain with no text or inscriptions on them for the toughest assembly. For the rest of us, I'd likely recommend that you use the inscribed 2 plates so you start on the right foot and you know the orientation of those 2, and you can discern the rest from there. For me, I worked on this quite a while as an assembly puzzle, but my starting point was knowing the orientation of the plates. From there I determined the fork and piece orientation, but because I couldn't find the final how the final piece went in, I had to confirm my work, as I doubted I had the pieces in the right spot. But I did have a solution using bird tools where I could look at just the assembly orientation. But to find out how to place the last piece, the last 2 pieces, I had to build the puzzle and disassemble it. So that was just my experience in this puzzle. To make a take-apart puzzle, you can print the inscribed 2-piece plate number 2. It's provided, and you can put that together with an M3 screw, sort of designed for 12 millimeters, but anything probably from 8 to 16 will work. So basically, using the hints, you would take the first plate, you would know the orientation and what forks go in each piece, and you would place those in the first plate. And then you'll put this second plate around it and screw it together with the M3 screw. There's no rotations needed. That is, if you were just to take one of the pieces, it moves up and down, left and right, or in and out, but you don't rotate it clockwise or counterclockwise or end over end. Spies number 3 is a level 47. A little different, that if you have it together, it only takes 9 moves to get the first piece out, but 20 to get the second piece out. If you're assembling it, it'll take 47 moves to put all the pieces in. So I've got some hints here. The first hint's on strategy. Hints 2 to 6 show the orientation of the pieces. And finally, I'll show a take-apart video solution. So if you're assembling it, you'll sort of need to reverse those instructions. I encourage you, though, to play with a puzzle. Maybe find the orientation from the plates by printing out the inscribed ones, and then just work with the puzzle for a few days so you can see the characteristics of the parts and how they move together. But hint number 1 on strategy, what I did was simply put the 3 pieces into the 2 plates, and that took me a while to find how they go. The middle piece will be unresolved. There'll be a couple different ways that it can go at that point. Once you start trying to enter the fork for each piece, it sort of nails down the orientation of those top pieces. Some forks can't be in some positions, and you'll find that out fairly quickly. Now, you may work for some time. You think you have the pieces oriented correctly, so you may want to check with some of the hints just on the orientation of those pieces just to verify. And sometimes you can even cheat. That is, you could rotate a fork into a final position just to sort of get it assembled and then try to reverse engineer it to discover how it should have been entered legally by using a disassembly from there. So those are some of the things I've tried to use to solve this. Hint number 2, the plate orientation. If you've printed out the plain plates, but you can't figure out how they go, this is the orientation. The top one has the lettering Spies 3, the bottom one there. So one goes on top of the other. If you want to just check on the left part and how the fork goes into that, this is how that should look. So those are the two pieces that go together on the left as you're looking at the Spies writing, or that top piece. Hint number 4 shows the middle piece with its fork. That's how they go. And hint number 5 shows the right piece with its fork. And finally, all parts together in the proper orientation are shown here. And now let's look at a take apart video. But I really recommend you work with this for a few days to really see the beauty of how these parts work together. So this is assuming you have it together. You can see the forks in each of those pieces. The first part that comes out is that fork in the middle green piece. And so you're going to try to free up some room in the middle there so you can sort of see how I've moved. Now I sometimes forget how I take these apart, so I may stumble a little bit through here and repeat some of these moves. But you're basically going to get the green piece all the way down, and you're going to slide that fork all the way up. And now you're trying to make some room to remove it out of those two plates. So you can see we're moving the plates left to right. So that was only 9 moves to remove that piece. The next one's a little more difficult, and to remove this one, that white piece is going to move from the top right piece into the middle green piece, and from there you're going to remove it. So you move those plates down so that you can move the middle piece a little bit over to the left. There's a protrusion right under that middle piece that you need to get onto the left side of. So I fiddled a little bit here to get that. You can sort of see that protrusion looking out there. So I'm going to slide those plates as well, left, right. You can see that coming up here to get past this protrusion. And then the top green piece is going to move over. The fork will slide into it. It'll move over a little more. And at this point, we're going to try to transfer that white fork downwards. Now you have to get those two pieces a little bit, one voxel to the right. And if you push that down, you'll see that white fork has been transferred. Now you can separate the two pieces. And you'll find that top piece will move over to the left quite a bit. And that will free up some room to remove the fork in the right piece. So you notice I've slid the bottom plate a little bit to the right. So we're going to move that up. I find a screwdriver, some pointy device is good for moving the forks in and out. That'll move down and over. And finally, it's in a spot where you can just poke it out. Now from here you have two forks out, so it's not too difficult at this point. You're going to get two green pieces over to the right hand side. In fact, you're going to get them both into that channel, or the pieces that stop movement. And you're going to try to slide the bottom plate to the right, but you've got to move the left green piece into the middle. And then you'll get that magic square opening where you can place the left green piece all the way through. So you're going to take the fork and the piece all at once. And from there, it's pretty trivial. That just slides out. And finally, you'll just take out the last two pieces. Hopefully you've enjoyed the puzzle, and hopefully you found a solution yourself.